Okay, I believe we are live. So, hello everyone. Hello, Steve.
Hey, sir. Hey, great to be here with you.
It's always amazing to have you. So, thank you so much. Now we have like a pretty calm background, a new one. Now I always try to experiment with it a bit. So, hello everyone. Just share your thoughts. Do you like it or not? I believe it will be like a quite engaging but a calm place,
Yeah.
but very insightful. So yeah, here we are waiting for more people to come because we have a lot of signups, and I believe it would be, as always, super insightful. And pay attention to our Black Friday offer. So during this session, you will have something remarkable, pretty amazing, and many people were waiting for something like this, and it will be only once per year. So yeah, pay attention to it. It will be by the end of our webinar, and Steve will also answer your questions. So just ask your questions.
Yeah. It's super great to be here
Oh,
and welcome. And yeah, this is an insane offer that we're going to be given at the end of this. And so you definitely want to stick around and catch that. And it's great to have everybody here. So if you're coming in, tell us where you're coming in from and what you most want to get out of this. And I will do my best to deliver. But we're always curious to hear and see where everybody's coming from, where you're logging in from, and so let us know. It looks like you've been traveling a lot there, sorry, because the I see a lot of travel like conference badges and things like that hanging on the.
yeah, it's not like you mean
Yep.
this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's not about traveling but participating in some events,
Mm-hmm.
because here in Ukraine we have like different activities, IT events and stuff like that. It's quite amazing to like just to meet the new people and to chat about, because we have a lot of people who work globally, like we do as well, for example. So it's,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And now I have a study more like these pages or whatever. Yeah. Okay, we have somebody from New Jersey. Hello.
Hey,
Toronto,
Jersey.
Canada.
Hey,
Hello.
Toronto, Ireland, and Birmingham.
Hello.
Wonderful. Got people from all over the world here.
All
Croatia.
over.
Amazing.
Yes. Hello. Yeah, people across the globe. It's always like amazing to meet new people, and yeah, also fascinating. I feel myself super lucky to have like some kind of an access to all the people across the globe, to all the amazing people. So yeah, San Diego. Hello.
Hello, San Diego. All right. Well, should we get started while people are coming up?
Yes, yes, I believe we can start. Netherlands with us as well. Hello.
Okay. Well, let me get going here.
And by the way, I will have some kind of Easter egg for all of you. Pay attention to this area because I have a dog
Oh,
somewhere
cool.
there. Yeah.
Awesome.
Hello.
Cool, cool, cool.
Hello
All
from
right.
Norway.
Norway, France, the Netherlands.
A lot of
Amazing.
amazing people.
People from all
Yeah.
over the world. I love the internet sometimes.
Yes.
Algeria. Nice. All right. Sweden.
Sweden. I love
Wonderful.
Sweden. Yeah.
All right. So let's
We
talk about,
Vita.
yeah, awesome. So let's see. I'm just going to rearrange my screens here a little bit so I can see both. Cool. So here we are here today. I'm calling it 3 real progress techniques for ADHD entrepreneurs that anyone can use. And that's what I've seen. These things that I am going to talk about have my particular interest is in entrepreneurship, but the things what I've seen with these techniques that I'm going to talk about have been really helpful for folks who aren't even entrepreneurs, who aren't entrepreneurs, who are in different stages of life or working. So I think this will be really helpful for everyone. So this is something where I want to start with is something that was expressed to me by one of my students in my weekly OS courses. And I want to just start here because I think it's something that a lot of ADHD brains have experienced. So have you experienced this? You just feel like, she says, I just feel like I'm at my wit's end with myself. I know I have to do the thing. I know I will feel pain if I don't do the thing. I know I told someone I would do the thing, but I still don't do the thing. If I could crack the code on being the person who does the thing instead of thinks about doing the thing, I would be unstoppable. So does that resonate for folks out there? I know it has in my life. And
I'll be
it's
the first one who can reply and say absolutely yes. And I feel myself painful when I need to do something, and I just don't do it, And yeah, sorry, my dog is barking.
the dog has also have experienced this. The dog, yeah. So awesome. So yeah, this is something I hear a lot, and I've experienced in my life as somebody who has ADHD, and it's a real thing, right? It's this, hey, I would be unstoppable if I could just get myself to do the things that I'm capable of, right? That I'm thinking of, right? And so what happens is the experience is we get this kind of ADHD stress cycle, right? Where we can only get moving as we build towards a deadline with some sort of consequence, right? And so where we live in this kind of state where it's either our stress is starting to build to get to the consequence or the deadline, and so we rally to meet the deadline, and then there's this big dip afterwards. And this cycle repeats over time. And there's some really important things, challenging things that happen with this. One, it's just exhausting to be in this cycle of peaks and dips. And two, we never really get to feel that satisfaction, right? If it's all about, hey, we're working and then we can only get going when there's like imminent doom and consequences or deadlines, then we don't ever get to really experience satisfaction. All we experience is that kind of sense of relief. Oh, we got away with it this time, or we made it happen this time, and then feel like, hey, we did it, but it probably could have been better. And doing that over time gets really exhausting. And so what it feels like we're up against is like this great wall of everything now. Our brains are making everything equally urgent and equally important, and we're working really hard. It's not that we're lazy or anything like that. We're working really hard, but we don't feel like we're making the progress. And it feels like it's just a level of constant reactivity from all the outside requests and emails and fire drills and things like that, but then also reacting to things that are happening inside of our brains. And so all the ideas that we're generating, our brain is generating the emotions that we're emotional waves that we're riding, and the overwhelm, and that weight of never feeling free. I have this phrase, I call it ADHD claustrophobia, because it kind of closes in on us and it makes us feel like it crowds out the rest of the world. And it's a really challenging place to be, especially when we know we've got all this brilliance inside that is um, just waiting to come out. And it is exhausting over time. So what I want to talk to you today about is three real progress techniques for ADHD entrepreneurs that anyone can use, and will help you start making sense of why this is happening and how you can deploy these three techniques to start making progress and not be in that loop. So first, for those of you who don't know me, why listen to me? From the outside, I've been pretty successful. I took my first startup from idea to a successful multi-million dollar exit. That's me winning an angel competition way back when. I'm the guy in the suit, not the guy in the costume. I live in Portland, Oregon. We keep it weird, even in our entrepreneuring. And then after selling my company and working for the company that bought us, I left that company and created a multi-six-figure coaching practice. So from the outside, pretty successful, right? But on the inside, it was a very different story. I didn't get diagnosed with ADHD till age 54. So I was doing this whole adventure without knowing that I was ADHD. And so I always felt overwhelmed and exhausted and was paying the ADHD tax the whole time. And it was a daily struggle to focus and do the thing, right? and to do the thing that we know we should do. So a lot of brilliant ideas half executed, and knew I was underperforming on the regular, right? Because I just wasn't able, it took me so much more effort. And in my 20s and 30s and even my 40s, I had that energy, that youthful energy that I could push through, but there was always a cost. And then in my 50s, that energy started to drop. And that's when I actually got my diagnosis and explained a lot of what was going on. So now my mission is to help ADHD entrepreneurs succeed. You can find me at my website, on my podcast, and on YouTube. And we'll talk about more about what I offer later on. So let's get right into the techniques, right? Sounds like this is resonating with folks. I'm seeing people saying, hey, some relief, but no satisfaction is really exhausting. Always exhausted. Exactly where I'm at. That's where I'm at. It's like a brain freeze. Oh my God, yes, of course. It's debilitating. So this is hitting home, right? People experience this. And I know this because I've experienced it myself. So, okay, let's talk about technique one. And what I call technique one is brain first. And I'm going to tell you exactly why this is, because ultimately everything starts with understanding our ADHD brain and understanding how to work with it versus trying to impose more neurotypical structures over top of it. Right. So everybody's, been on Facebook or out in the world, and they've seen all these planners and stuff. So it's like, just get a planner, right? You got a planner, right? There's a million different planners and techniques you can use. And if you're like me, you may have tried them and they might work for a little bit, but then they drop and they stop working, or you can't stick with it, or it doesn't really work, or, the routines are exhausting and you just can't sustain it. And there's a few reasons for that. One is that a lot of these things aren't actually systems. They're just tools that don't have a system. And the ones that have systems, like a getting things done or something like that, aren't really coming at it from an ADHD level of understanding. It's not really indexed for that. And so that sets us up for failure. So what's really in the way here? So ADHD is one of the most poorly named disorders, I think, out there. I don't even like to call it a disorder. I like to call it just a different brain type. But it's not a deficit of attention, right? It's a surplus of attention. We're paying attention to everything. The challenge is controlling that attention and putting it where we want, when we want, right? And then hyperactivity isn't really always involved with it. I was never hyper. I had the more inattentive daydreaming version of it. And the thing is, it's really an executive function deficit. And the planning, and what is executive function? What does it help us do? It helps us plan and prioritize. It helps us organize things. It helps initiate tasks or just start stuff. Working memory, that ability to keep things that are out of sight in mind, is lower in ADHD brains. Impulse control, so being able to resist distraction, is more challenging with ADHD brains. Emotional control and regulation is more challenging with ADHD. And flexible thinking versus binary either or thinking can be a challenge. And the funny thing about it is the self-monitoring of the realization of all these things going on is also a little lower in ADHD brains. So when you have these kinds of challenges and deficits with executive function, you get these other things that are expressed in ADHD. You get this time blindness where your relationship with time is very interesting, right? So a minute can feel like an hour if you're not interested in the thing, and an hour can feel like a minute if you really are interested in it. And the old joke I like to say is, how do you know you're in a relationship with an ADHD person? If you say, it's time to go, or you say, we have to leave in 5 minutes. And they say, great, I'll jump in the shower now, because they're so disconnected from time. And that goes through estimating how long things take. Procrastination, distraction, we've all experienced that. If we could be the thing, people who do the thing. The challenge of prioritizing and option overload. Our ADHD brains have it's really cognitively expensive to take a bunch of options and figure out which one's the priority and how to put them into a sequence and what sequence they should be put in. And that's why planning can be exhausting. This notion of heightened rejection sensitivity, like we take things rejection in a much more strongly, which leads to can lead to emotional dysregulation. We can get emotionally dysregulated easier, and then we get into this decision fatigue and paralysis. Like our brain really only has so much to give, and that gives us a greater chance of rumination, anxiety, and depression. So the way to think about it is the ADHD brain has some really super strengths. It is brilliant at learning, knowing, ideating, and creating. These are things that all give us dopamine, which is a neurotransmitter that ADHD brains um, have a little less of, right? So that gives us that generates that stuff for us. But this superpower of learning, knowing, ideating, and creating is paired with a very underpowered doing part of our brain, which is the frontal part of the brain, which is where executive function lives. So we have what Dr. Hallowell at ADHD 2.0 said is a Ferrari engine with bicycle brakes. So, and I love what Dr. Russell Barkley said about it. ADHD isn't an attention disorder; it's a performance disorder. So, what does that mean? Let's really unpack this and break it down. So, that person said, "Okay, if I could be the person who does the thing, I could be unstoppable." Okay, so what's in the way of unstoppable you? How does ADHD get in the way? There's 3 important ways, right? It makes it hard to prioritize and decide. It makes it harder to start and focus to finish. And it makes it hard to sustain this over time, right? So I think of it as it makes it harder to decide, do, and sustain. Now, these are 3 things that are very important in entrepreneurship, but they're really important in life overall, right? Because life tends to reward, being able to consistently do the thing, right? Because that compounds over time. And when we don't have that, then we don't make the progress that we want to make. So what we want to do, once we know this, we can start developing ways to do this. Because what we want to get to in order to become unstoppable you is we want to be able to confidently prioritize and decide. We want to be able to consistently start, focus, and finish. And we want to be able to sustain over time. If we do these things, we will become unstoppable you. And so, but we have a brain that makes that a little harder. So what we need from a system, right, is something that starts from that understanding, right? If it doesn't start from that understanding, it is setting us and it up to fail in supporting us, right? Because it has to keep us anchored because we have a lower level of working memory. So it's very easy for us to drift. It has to constantly surface priorities because we're going to lose track of those. It isn't its own distraction. Some of the tools out there can be their own distraction. You just go down the rabbit hole of configuring the tool and it's like procrastinating working. It's like you're expending energy to organize and optimize the tool, but you're not making forward progress. And it has to be able to adapt to us. Right. So ultimately this comes down to, and this is really important, is changing the question from how much can I get done, which is what every kind of productivity system starts with. How much can you get done? Well, let's make it easier for you to get done. But the question for an ADHD brain needs to be more, how can I best work with my ADHD brain? Because ultimately, things that work with your ADHD brain will move you forward, and things that don't take into account and may work against your brain, like it's not going to stick. It's not going to get you where you want to go. It's not going to turn you into the person who does the thing. Is that all making sense? It sounds like, I'm just going to stop and read some comments here. It sounds like the frustration with planners is real, right? Just write the outline, use the planner for 2 days and forget it even exists. Yeah, working memory, it goes out of our mind very quickly. I've gotten 6 new planners in the last 3 months, diagnosed 4 months ago at age 65. Hey, I'm so glad you got that diagnosis. 3 paper and 3 digital. Yeah. Yep, that's the way you end up with 10 very nice but half empty paper planner books. Yep. So that's the thing. Why those planners aren't working is because they're not coming from that perspective of starting with that understanding of your ADHD brain. Okay, so if we have that question, how can I best work with my ADHD brain? Let's start answering that question, right? And that's what brings us to technique number 2, right? Nail your weeks. right? And this is something that took me a while to figure out. The thing about getting diagnosed with ADHD often is, and I know this is true in the US medical system, but I've heard it's true of other medical systems, it's very diagnosed and prescribed. Like, hey, you have ADHD, here's your Adderall, off you go. But ultimately, the pills, as they say, don't teach the skills, and we need a level of skill and understanding to organize according to how our ADHD brains work. So why do I say nail your weeks? Well, here's the typical week in the life of an ADHD entrepreneur and probably other ADHD folks is like, we start Monday overcommitting to a super ambitious list that we're sure we can all get done. But because of our time blindness, we've set ourselves up to probably overbook our overcommit. And on Tuesday, the unexpected tasks and fires pop up. Then we start feeling behind, distracted, and a little discouraged. By Wednesday, it's like, how is it already Wednesday? And we start to lose confidence in the week and sometimes in ourselves. And then the Thursday panic, I haven't done enough. That brings us into indecision loops. What should I focus on now? And often avoiding the most important thing by doing literally everything else except the most important, most impactful thing. And then Friday is about surveying the wreckage, navigating the guilt spiral. Why can't I get it together? And then off to Google for new planners and systems, right? I've experienced this. And then the weekend's all about catching up everything you didn't get done and set a new plan. This is the week, and repeat. And that's part of the experience, right? So the thing why weeks are the key to getting where we want to go with an ADHD brain is because of our time blindness. When we set like big far off goals, there's just like a year or a quarter. It's really hard for an ADHD brain to motivate to that or to even schedule that or think about that, right? It's just too far out. Our brains are not that good with time, right? We need that motivation to be concentrated in a shorter time period. So, and on the flip side, days are way too variable. Our days can blow up in a heartbeat. Like a client calls, has a fire, there's something happens in our life or something goes sideways. There's just lots of ways that days can go sideways. But if we think about a month is really just a string of good weeks put together. So the week is such a great container. So if we just think about the week, that's where everything comes together, right? If we can have a good week, then we can make the progress. We can become the person who does the thing, and then we can become unstoppable us. And so what's a good week? I look at it as three things. One, do we prioritize the right things? Do we know what's the most important thing, right? And number two, did we actually make some progress on those things? Even if we didn't finish it, did we move those forward? And then three, meet your ADHD brain where it is. This third thing is really interesting because our ADHD brains are going to be variable in their ability in how much executive function they have on any given day, right? So some days we'll be killing it. And what I see often is like, we'll kill 3 days in a row. And then the fourth day is like, what happened? I can't get anything going here. My brain's just sitting here and is just desperate to get me over to YouTube. And it's like, well, you used it all up. And so we have to like adjust to that. But you see how having that understanding of how an ADHD brain works helps us with that, right? So, and what it feels like, and this is a person from one of my who attended Your Weekly OS, my course, and we'll talk about later. I was able to get on track with planning out all my tasks for the week. I didn't get stuck in analysis paralysis and just made it happen. Like that's the dream, right? So we're going to talk about how to make that dream happen. So nail your week and everything else follows. And so I'm going to show you, this is where, I intersected with xTiles because this is where I started to really understand the power of xTiles and how it intersected with this and how I could make it support my ADHD brain. And so what we're going to talk about is the difference. One way to think about this is this calendar versus a dashboard. And so we all have our calendars, right? And we say, okay, we can organize our calendar. And some systems say, oh, you just color code things and that'll help you prioritize and stuff. But calendars actually have a way of hiding priorities, of making everything kind of equally priority, level of priority. So you've got, everything you've got scheduled and there are lots of priorities in there, but you just have your time, how your time's being allocated. why I use a dashboard, and I'm going to walk you through my ADHD dashboard that I use in xTiles, is because I need the priority surface. As an ADHD brain, a calendar, if I don't see what's important in front of me all the time that I can quickly pull up and use and track, then I'm going to lose it, and I'm going to lose track of stuff, and I'm going to drift, and I'm going to do these things. So what I'm going to do is pull up my dashboard. And you can see my actual dashboard. Let me get over here. I've got two screens, so this is nice today.
I just wanted to say, pay attention. It's Tuesday already.
Yeah. All right. So here's my, I'll walk you through it just to give you a sense. And this is something that when students in my Your Weekly OS course get support in actually building their own customized version of it. So I have a bunch, some key sections here. I have my magnetic north. This is my mission and vision. I need that in front of me because in order to prioritize, we need to know where we're going, right? And why we want and how we want things to look. And if we have that, then we can make priorities. If we don't have that, or we lose track of that, it's really hard to make decisions because there's nothing guiding us. And then we break down in this section, we break down the big vision. And this is another challenge with ADHD brains. It's really tough for ADHD brains to break down a big thing into smaller steps. But that's exactly what we do in this section here with waypoints, rocks, and smallest next steps. And then these turn into projects. So I like to use the toggle for projects, and tasks are in the projects. So that way I can see visually all my projects. And so the way it works is I brain dump my projects into here in the tasks. And then at the beginning of the week, or usually at the end of the week, I will then figure out, based on my most important things, which projects get my attention this week. And then I will narrow, it's usually a 3-step. I'll try to narrow it down to 5, and then I'll narrow it down to 3. And then I will then take the tasks from each project and then put them in to my week, right? And so something I have in the week is the 2-hour workday. And the reason I have use the 2-hour workday as my framework is because time blocking for ADHD brains, it just isn't is too cognitively expensive, right? If we do that time blocking as they traditionally do it, we're going to spend a lot of time and executive function and effort just trying to figure out what goes when, and then you're asking an ADHD brain to estimate how long it's going to take. It's just a setup for it not working. So the 2-hour workday principle, I originally heard from a coach named Aaron Croft, and it basically says, hey, if we've got, think about it as if we've only got 2 hours of peak executive function during the day, the most important things should go there, right? Because we want the most important things to get the best chance of happening, right? And so that's why I have my time blocking is 2-hour workday priority and everything else. And then what I love about xTiles too is and I just added this in recently, is they have the Google and Outlook calendar integration that's been added. So I can have my dashboard, and then if I need to quickly reference my actual calendar, it's here as well. And I love that. And so and it's just so easy to lay it out visually. And it was something I was never able to do with Notion. And that's why I'm here with you today. Awesome.
Yes, thank you, Steve.
Cool. All right. So moving right along, just checking with the chat. Yeah, change the question. It really is something that is very powerful. And then we have a note here. I overcomplicate everything. Yes, ADHD brains do that. It's almost even not overcomplicate, it's overcrowd. Because we're constantly generating new ideas and new thoughts, even as we're trying to organize things. ADHD brains are incredibly additive, and they have a lot of challenges subtracting stuff from the option set. And so that is one of the big challenges, and something we cover in my course. Okay. So we went through the dashboard, focus with one glance, keep priorities front and center, helps us not be surprised. ADHD brains get surprised a lot by stuff that dropped out of working memory and suddenly gets popped up by other people, and isn't its own distraction. One of the things I love about xTiles is it's very straightforward. You can use it as deep or as simplistic as you want, and it'll still deliver for you. And I love xTiles. I wish I could be sometimes more of a print person or somebody, but my handwriting is so atrocious I can't read it. But again, there's a printable version of this kind of dashboard as well. Okay, so now let's go to technique number 3, and that is don't do it alone. So this is a really important concept to understand, is what are your real ADHD reward mechanisms? This is, in my opinion, kind of the whole game here in becoming the unstoppable you. And it ties back to the first things we talked about, the stress cycle. Why is the stress cycle? Why can we not get started unless there's a huge deadline? And it's there's 2 things that get an ADHD brain moving. One is intense interest, because we love the dopamine of an intense interest type of thing. And the other is urgent consequences, right? So we'll start off with intense interest, and then if that interest fades, our effort will fade, and then the consequences will come, and our effort will rise. Well, what's in between intense interest and urgent consequences? I call it the dopamine desert, right? This is the place where it's not as interesting anymore. You might be going back over the same thing multiple times, and the consequences hasn't arrived yet. So there's nothing for your brain to get moving on, right? And yet in the dopamine desert is where that kind of stress-free progress happens, right? That's where we actually can work more proactively instead of reactively. So the key, in my opinion, is, can you make progress in the dopamine desert? And I love to say progress can be fast, it can be slow, it can be meandering, as long as it's progress, right? And so what's the key though? So what do we do if the only mechanisms internally that we have are intense interest and urgent consequences? How do we actually get across the dopamine desert? Well, the way I like to say is, like, when crossing a desert, go with a caravan. And what I mean by that is, there's one thing that seems to be really effective for getting an ADHD brain to do something when there isn't, the urgent deadline or the intense interest. The thing that I've found to be super successful for me and so many of my students is don't do it alone. Body doubling, which I call co-working, is really, really effective for getting you moving in getting across the dopamine desert. It's its own little squirrel caravan, right? I think of it sometimes as a doing tribe, but this is the key, right? When I see people making progress, it's so often they've adopted this. And it's important that it's the right group, right? So for those who may not be familiar with body doubling or co-working, it's basically you get together. I host my sessions every day in Zoom, and but other people have done it in person, but I host a Zoom co-working session every day. And what we do is we get on, we tell each other what we're going to do, and then we set a timer and we go do it. And it's a weird form of magic. It just kind of helps us do it. And people just have experienced incredible transformations with it. It's sort of a forcing function to ensure you show up for other people. And by announcing that what you're going to work on, you don't want to disappoint them. And so it leverages one part of ADHD, like rejection sensitivity, to help with another part, procrastination, distraction. And it just kind of works. And here's a quote from somebody who's been in it. I feel more settled when I engage in co-working. Being around others who are also focused on me helps me feel accountable and regulated. And one of the reasons I think this works so well is because environment is always more powerful than discipline and willpower. right? Discipline and willpower are very finite resources, especially for an ADHD brain. And so environment is something we talk about in my weekly OS course. Environment is key. And so just putting yourself in an environment where everybody else is focusing helps you focus and get stuff done. And sometimes people are working on really deep work stuff. Sometimes they're just cleaning up and getting organized. And sometimes we call them the I don't want us. We just got to do the I don't want us. Fill out the form or whatever it is in front of you. And it's brilliantly effective. So those are the 3 techniques. Brain first, nail your weeks, and don't do it alone. Right? And so while this is leading to, when you put these things together, is a weekly OS, a weekly progress system that will help you reduce overwhelm, help prioritize and decide, even when the options keep coming, to stop the procrastination and overcome the distraction, and provide a community of like-brained people to sustain focus over time, to cross the dopamine desert together. And it always has to adapt to your unique brain. Everybody ADHDs a little bit differently. So it has to be adaptable. So how do we do this? Here's how I break it down, right? In order to confidently prioritize, in order to get to unstoppable you, we need a magnetic north that is always drawing us. So we have a clarity on where we're going and how we want our life to look like. We want to know what's most important. I call it rock-based prioritization when we break things down. And then we need like a project reality checker, because our brains, ADHD brains, are really bad at estimating. And so we will accidentally bury ourselves if we don't have the reality checking. Right? On the do part of it, so that was decide. In order to do, we need that framework of the 2-hour workday of like, we've got a limited amount of executive function. We want to put the most important things in that time frame, so they have the best chance of getting done. We need to develop our focus shield, because again, deploying our willpower and discipline, our limited pool of that, so that we're setting up the right environment, and the no fail starting, which is the co-working. And then be able to sustain this over time. Like, all stuff is great, but if you can't stick with it, then we're back where we started. And so we stay in over time. I call it dopamine management. We want to understand that we want to try to be more steady state with our dopamine. Rituals versus routine. How do we create, like, routine gets boring, and boring stops happening. So we need to have rituals that imbue it with more meaning, and we need that ongoing caravan or tribe. So those are the elements. And when people adopt this, what I've seen is, and this is from this person, right? From this to, I just feel like I'm at my wit's end, to this. Not procrastinating until the very last minute was a new and exciting experience for me. This person transformed in a matter of weeks. It was like really, really amazing to see. And this person was not alone. Other people who have completed, use this system. I was able to complete the work for 3 clients this week. So happy I danced around my house for an hour this morning. Just feel freer. It's just amazing. I had a huge backlog of flagged emails. I've cut that in half. I mean, I just feel more relaxed. Like, I can do this. It's a good feeling. This person was at a point of giving up. ADHD brain was telling me to give up. It's too hard. Having a place to show up daily with which makes me accountable and supports me in this unique way is quite frankly beyond my wildest dreams. You're encouraging me to know myself and meet myself exactly where my brain is functioning daily, instead of fighting it and beating myself up. Yes. No shame spirals. I got more done in the last 40 minutes than I've done in the last 2.5 months. We have a joke that a lot of things, once you get going, take 5 months and 20 minutes, 5 months to procrastinate and 20 minutes to actually get them done. And before your weekly OS, I was giving up before I even began. I nearly had lost all the self-confidence that I should even be working in my field anymore. And since starting, I've achieved many small wins, enabled me to get on track with a big project, able to communicate with my clients promptly rather than being frozen with anxiety and fear of adding more to my plate. And this person got the real work done. The fact that I got all 5 of my sequences and social media done yesterday means I was able to give that all to my VAs, and my whole team is working on it now. It's off my plate. That is almost miraculous. So here we are. So if this sounds like something that is interesting to you, you would like to take on, we've got an amazing thing for you. So I want to tell you about your weekly OS. It's my 3-week program to build a weekly system that works with your ADHD brain to help you prioritize what matters, get started with ease, Stay focused through the finish, and then end each week feeling calmer, capable, and proud of your progress. And so we're running an amazing Black Friday deal for the next 24 hours only, right? Because it's so amazing. It's so impulsive. xTiles and Sarah and I were thinking about it. Was like, should we do it? Okay, we'll do it. And it's just $99. It's normally $4.99, just $99, and it includes a year subscription of xTiles Plus. And xTiles Plus year subscription is $99 on its own. So this is insane, which is why we're only doing it for 24 hours. And so how it works is we have an interactive course, platform, gamified course, which you get forever access to. So it's something you get to keep. We have the 3 weeks of co-working, live virtual co-working sessions over Zoom, Monday through Friday. And those co-working hours are starting December 1st, we've got expanded co-working hours. So those of you who are in the UK and EU time zones, it starts at 7:15 a.m. Eastern time, and it actually goes to 1 p.m. There's a typo there, 1 p.m. Eastern time. So 7:15 a.m. Eastern time, I believe, is 12:15 a.m. in the UK. I guess 1:15 p.m. on the continent. And it goes to, again, 1 p.m. Eastern time. And for those of you in the Pacific time zone, that I'm sure you're not going to get up at 7:15 a.m. Eastern, but it goes from 8 a.m. to 10. You can still access that, but 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific time. You can also go earlier on the 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. slot too as well. So anyway, there is like 6 hours of co-working time every day on Monday through Friday. And then we have live sessions where I coach live in a group session each Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern time, 10 a.m. Pacific time. And this is an incredible deal. And like I said, it's here for the next 24 hours. And we've just had amazing success with it. And we wanted to give more people the opportunity to do that and to experience the change. And so that is what we are offering. So with that, I'm not going to belabor it too much longer, but we will open it up to questions. So feel free to post into the chat any questions you have about anything that I've talked about the program, about the techniques. And we're here for another 18 minutes.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I always say, Steve, that everything you do with your coaching, it will help not only people like entrepreneurs, like solopreneurs and stuff like that, but to all the people, not only even with ADHD, but who wants to prioritize the right things and just to want to make their fix moving forward and their goals moving forward and just to succeed. I believe because of Steve, usually I was like a crazy time blocking everything and color coding everything, and I was using like a daily planner page with like dozens of different tasks to do, and it was like overwhelming. But with Steve, I started to, well, I changed my like way how I plan everything. I started to use weekly planning, and yeah, I believe it's an amazing opportunity. So we already have some questions, Steve, by the way.
Yeah, I want to answer Stephanie Barlow. Yes, on the co-working times. I think I've confused things. There are the co-working time. There are what I call like 3 zones. I'm trying to think of it because we just added this new one for December. So you can come to any of the co-working time. It goes from 6 hours during the day, right? You can go to any of those sessions. So for Pacific time zone, like the one is 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific time. So you can come to that if you're on Pacific time. If you are an early bird and you want to get up for the Eastern time one, which is 9 to 11 Eastern, then you can go to that as well. And somebody who's at who can go to 9 to 11 Eastern can go to any of the hours. So I'm just trying to convey so if I wanted to put this into the daytime, I hope I'm answering the question right. There are 6 hours of co-working, and I'm trying to like convey that you can go to any of them. So so if you're on Pacific time zone, we call the Pacific time zone co-working hours is 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific time. The Eastern time co-working zone is 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern. And then the earlier time zone than that is 7:15 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern. And that's more for the folks in the UK and Europe. So you can go to any of them, and you can come and go as you want. I hope that answers the question on that one. Question, is there any other techniques to get through the dopamine desert other than co-working and body doubling? The only thing is that I've seen that I haven't found anything that works as well. I think you can do it, if you're having medication that's working really well for you, that certainly helps. If you have a really tight, like that 2-hour workday framework where it's like being really clear about when is your peak executive function and making sure that the most important things go in the peak executive function. And that can help, but nothing's been as effective to me as the co-working. Question, biggest query for me, how to balance working on personal projects and goal versus a demanding day job in admin where I've been essentially all things to all people. Any tips? Yeah, I mean, that's, we have a number of people in our group who are in a full-time job, and sometimes demanding full-time job, but also spinning up a side hustle or spinning up a creative project. And part of it is the fact that they're able to actually be the person who does the thing during their day job then frees them up to be able to do the other stuff. And so it may not be that you have like a side hustle. It may be just, you just want to have your personal life in a good place. And work on things that are important to you in your personal life. And the better you're able to execute on the day job, and manage that, the better you'll be able to pursue the personal life. How many weeks is the weekly live learning session? There are 3 of them when you join. You get 3 live weekly sessions, Mondays at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific.
Yeah, it was also one more question from Shelby. I have highlighted it so you can see it, I believe.
Let's see, the co-working. Yes. New to all this, learning, how can you explain about co-working hours work? Okay. So co-working hours, we get on the Zoom, you show up, there's a host. The host welcomes you and welcomes people and says, hey, what are you all doing? What are you going to be working on? People go around. If there's often in the chat, sometimes if it's a small group, we'll do it out loud. And people say, here's what I'm working on today. And everybody say, yay. Set a timer that you see on the clock on your screen, and it'll be 25 minutes generally, and it counts down. And we all just go on mute and we just work. We do the thing. And then when the timer ends, we do a quick check-in at the bottom of the hour. Are you making progress? Are you crushing it? Are you needing to bring yourself back? Because that's usually the 3 things that are happening, right? You go down a rabbit hole, you get sidetracked, and all of a sudden, things aren't, and you need something to kind of pull you back. But it's really, really so supportive an environment. And so we just repeat that, and it's an interesting form of magic. So hopefully that explains it. Let's see. Awesome. Great. Yeah, he's finding a Pomodoro timer with brown noise while tying very interesting mini rewards and larger rewards in the breaks has been keeping you focused. Great. Those are things that you can deploy, and they can be really helpful. There's that question from Harley. If you already have an xTiles subscription, what happens? You get another year with this. So it's an amazing deal in that you get a year of xTiles and you get the program. All right. Any other questions here? Still got a few more minutes.
Just wanted to say all of you, thank you so much for like asking questions. I believe it's a great opportunity for like all of us to to chit chat with Steve a bit because he has like a huge amount of experience. And yeah, there is one more question, Steve.
Can you talk about the Gamify course? Is there a preview? There's not a preview per se. The platform I use has a lot of gamification elements in it. So when you get on, you get you have the opportunity to earn experience points for everything you create. And it's also very interactive in the sense that there in every activity, every training, there's a question that you answer, and I actually reply and give you guidance and reply back to your answers. And then there are some really cool bonuses to unlock that help you make progress and make things happen. Like, for instance, one bonus is a magnetic north template, desktop template, where you can actually print out your magnetic north and have it right there for you. So things like that. And it's a lot of interaction, and it is people have said it's just a lot of fun and keeps them really engaged. Monday is a very full day for you. Is that the only day to do the learning sessions? Currently, yes. The live sessions, they can be recorded, but just due to the schedule, it's just on the Mondays currently. In the beginning of the year, that may change, but right now, with this deal, it's only on Mondays.
All right. I believe you need to check your Stripe account and to see that everybody went just to grab this deal because it's just amazing. As Steve mentioned, the price is our usual annual subscription price. So yeah, I know. We did it somehow. Okay, I believe that's probably it. If you have, if you still have some of the questions, please drop them in our comment section, into our chat. Brainfield, okay. Thank you for your feedback. Yeah, dopamine is high, I believe. Yeah, but as I mentioned, pay attention. It's already Tuesday, and on Wednesday, maybe you will have some questions that, there's a lot of stuff to do. Still a lot of stuff to do, as always. There's a question. Maybe I can try to explain how do you manage your My Planner in xTiles. So My Planner is like amazing feature. It's a bit advanced, but when you subscribe to Steve's Weekly OS, you can get a template that super easy to follow and stuff like that, but you can also incorporate it into my planner. And usually I have a separate webinar about xTiles, about explaining all the features, and I believe the webinar like this will be the next Tuesday. And we also have like a super supportive support team, like real human beings, not AI agents. So if you have any questions, we already have a couple of live sessions like recorded. And yeah, our support can guide you through the process. So yeah, you will not be alone with xTiles, but still it's super easy to understand and to incorporate into your daily flow, weekly life, and so on. That was helpful. Thank you so much for your feedback.
Yeah, great to have everybody here. I'm glad you got something out of it. So yeah, last call for questions, and then I guess we will call it a session.
As always, just wanted to say thank you, Steve. A lot of insights. And Kate, thank you so much for your feedback. Yeah, fingers crossed. As I mentioned, a lot of stuff to do. So yeah, a lot of things. Yeah, just wanted to say thank you to Steve and thank you for listening to me, to my, like, maybe not questions, but this kind of offerings that we need to focus more on people like with ADHD in general, not only to entrepreneurs, because Steve helps a lot of people, not only entrepreneurs, but to all the people who face, like ADHD and, like say, late diagnosed and something like that, because, like typical idea or advice to just grab a planner, it will not work for everybody. So we need somebody who will guide us. So yeah, thank you so much, Steve. Oh, excited, just sign up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Excited to have you there.
Thank you so much for your feedback. Willow, thank you so much. Monique, thank you. It's amazing that I can see all of like amazing people like every webinar. If you do not want to do to have something like that, just to use checkboxes instead of tasks. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Willow, once again. Stephanie, thank you so much. And I wish all of you to have a great rest of your day and your productive week as well. Like a week of progress, let's say. Sounds like that.
All right, everybody. Great to be with you. Have an amazing, for those who are celebrating the U.S. Thanksgiving holiday, have a great Thanksgiving. Thankful for you guys for being with us today. And have a great rest of your week. We'll see you real soon.
Thank you all, and see you, Steve. See you all. Thank you.